Hello! Zone.js was the heart of Angular for years, but this era is ending. It became optional in Angular 20.2, but with version 21, new projects are zoneless by default. The Zone.js is retiring and your apps are getting faster. But what does this actually mean for your code? Let's look at some examples. Okay, let's start with something simple. Loading a crew list from an API. With a Zone.js, we just subscribe to HTTP call, assign the result, and the UI would update. Easy. But in a zoneless world, that subscription won't trigger change detection anymore. The loader never disappears. So how do I fix it? We have a few options. First, the fallback. Inject change detection ref and call MarkForCheck. This works, but it's not elegant. Let's refresh the browser and check. Yeah, it's working. The list is there, but we can do better. We can use the async pipe instead of subscribing in the TypeScript. I will create an observable and use the async pipe directly in the template. Angular takes care of the updates and subscription cleanup for us. We can also use signals and convert the observable with to signal. The signal updates automatically and handle unsubscription for you. Remember to use brackets in the template to get the current signal value. Finally, there is the new HTTP resource API. It's still experimental, but it eagerly fetches data and exposes it as signals, which makes it zoneless friendly right away. In the template, we can check if we already have the result from the API call using the hasValue signal, and then use the value signal to display the data. So we've covered HTTP requests. What about user interactions? The good news is that standard event bindings like clicks or typing in an input, this still trigger change detection. But timers are different. Set timeout and set interval no longer trigger change detection without Zone.js. Let's take a look at our example. I'm using set interval to change the RAM level over time, but as you can see, the value in the UI is not changing as expected. So let's fix it and use a signal instead. Remember to use brackets in the template to get the signal value. And it's working. The RAM level is finally going down. Now let's recap with a quick summary of what will trigger change detection and what not. First, what will work? MarkForCheck, async pipe, signal value update, experimental HTTP resource, bounded events, component ref set input. And what will not trigger change detection anymore? And of course, this is only the most popular examples. Standard HTTP requests, observables, set timeout, set interval. So the pattern is clear. In the zoneless Angular, we are responsible for triggering change detection. But here's the catch. In a large app, it's easy to miss a spot. If you forget to notify Angular about a change, the UI won't update to reflect the new state. Since there's no error in the console by default, it can be hard to track down why the view isn't changing. To help with this, you can use provideCheckNoChangesConfig. This tool acts as a validator. By enabling this in app config providers, Angular monitors your bindings in the background. Let's go back to our example with the RAM level and set interval. We know that in a zoneless app, set interval doesn't trigger change detection. Without this debug tool, our RAM level just stayed the same on the screen and we get no feedback. But watch what happens once we enable the check. As you can see, the RAM level on the UI still isn't going down, but let's check the console. There it is! Every 5 seconds I've got my favorite error, expression change after it has been checked error. That invisible issue becomes a visible error, pointing you directly to the exact binding that failed to update. It's the perfect way to ensure your app is fully zoneless compatible before you ship to production. What are the actual benefits of going zoneless? First, obvious performance. Angular avoids a lot of unnecessary change detection cycles, so your app performs better. Bundle size. Dropping Zone.js reduced the bundle by about 33 kilobytes, which improves initial loading time and core web vitals. Easier debugging. No more Zone.js layers polluting your stack trace. And the last one, the most important, you have full control over reactivity. You decide when updates happen. That's why if you are migrating to Zoneless, a great first step is to switch your app to the on-push strategy. It's a powerful way to expose exactly where your logic needs to be adjusted for Zoneless compatibility. However, keep in mind that you don't always have to use on-push. There are times when you might not even want to, and that's okay. The most important thing in a zoneless world is to understand and use the correct triggers like signals, async pipe, MarkForCheck to ensure Angular knows exactly when to update the view. Thanks for watching and happy zoneless coding! See you in the next episode.